Here we are in Ramsey on the Isle of Man, the biker's paradise for the first ever TT Ultimate Street Bike. As you can see, the weather is perfect, in fact. Not quite Bermuda short weather as it was in York. There's a bit of a breeze coming in off the sea, but fortunately it's directly behind the entrance in the Ultimate Street Bike, so that's brilliant. Even as I speak, the TT races proper are going on just half a mile away over the hill, but I'm pleased to say that the appeal of the Ultimate Street Bike is such that we've still got a really big turnout of spectators and over 80 entrants actually taking part. It's actually over the 8th mile here at Ramsey as opposed to the quarter mile, but we'll be factoring up the times that we get here so that we'll end up with some quarter mile times that can be used to decide who'll go forward from this round to the Ultimate Street Bike final in the autumn.
Sunshine, blue sea, golden sand, an empty promenade and motorcycles. Put all that together with ace organiser Tony Huck and you have what promised to be an Isle of Man showdown. Bill Hunter, notable absentee from York, was here to show he was the man to beat. With his formidable looking Spondon Suzuki unleashing a 6.84 second run at 109 miles per hour over the 1/8 mile to put him straight to the top of the table. Mike Sr. on his GS 1238 Suzuki, a regular Ultimate Street Bike runner, was also to see himself dip under the magical 7-second bracket with a 6.96 at 107 miles per hour. With the persistent rain that had ruined the traditional Ramsey sprint on the Tuesday, many of the top drag entrants took the opportunity to share the prom with the Ultimate Street Bike competitors and showed that the promenade is not quite as straight as it looks when you're on a pro stocker. Nick Pepper on his Suzuki and John Morton on his yellow GPZ Kawasaki also put in quick passes throughout the day. Back with the Ultimate Street Bike, and Craig Ashton on his GSX 1100R Suzuki was chasing the lead with a very respectable 6.97 at 111 miles per hour in the open class. We caught up with him and asked what he thought of the Isle of Man Ultimate Street Bike.
Well, the Ramsey course itself is absolutely brilliant. Everybody's on holiday, so it's a real carnival atmosphere. There's people taking off the leathers, lending them to other people, which is just about unheard of, just so everybody can get out there and have a go. The track itself, it's in the wet. I found it was very, very slippery, but in the dry, it grips like mad. So the problem with my bike in particular is that the front end keeps coming up all the time. Really, it's a very difficult situation. It's a matter of dragging the clutch that much longer to try and keep the front end down, or letting it go and hoping that it'll spin. Unfortunately, it's not spinning, it's gripping, it's coming up in the air. So until I can master that, then I'm not really going to get my times down, so I'm going to have to get my finger out.
The Isle of Man is renowned for attracting its fair share of exotic specials. We were graced by the presence of a matching pair of Harris GPZ 900 Kawasaki's, one red and one blue, owned by Paul Clifford and Ashley Trackey. On the subject of specials, Neil Champion on yet another Harris and Owen Briggs on a Peckett and McNabb 1100 Kawasaki were also turning in some quick 1/8 mile times. Under the watchful eye of the law, the meeting pressed on with runs fast and furious. John Goodman on his Z900 Kawasaki running 7.42 seconds at 96 miles per hour. And proving that not only men can drag race a street bike, this young lady ran some very respectable 1/8 mile passes on her Triumph Twin. Talking about Triumph Twins, this outstanding example also ran some good times in the 4-stroke twin battle. The 2-stroke twin honours looked like going to this Yamaha, seemingly having come straight from the TT course just up the road. Tony Middlehurst was there again, climbing the leaderboard with a 7.22 second run at 102 miles per hour, and on his birthday as well. Bill Hunter had reinforced his earlier run with a 6.8 at 114 miles per hour, but it wasn't to be enough. Old rival and mate Steve Burns had arrived. He snatched victory with a 6.73 second run at 115 miles per hour. Action in all the classes was fast and furious, with some competitors hitting double figures in their amount of attempts to set the fastest times of the day. One of those was Katana-mounted Graham Dance, who ran a best time of 7.35 seconds at 105 miles per hour from his 12 runs down the Ramsey Strip. All told, the first Isle of Man Ultimate Street Bike was a bigger success than anyone could have predicted. The final outcome was Steve Burns, first again with a 6.73 at 115 miles per hour on his GSX 1100 Turbo. Second was Bill Hunter on his Spondon GSX 1100 Turbo with a 6.8 at 114 miles per hour. Third was Craig Ashton with a very creditable 6.94 at 111 miles per hour. Fourth, Mike Senior on his GS 1238 with a 6.96 at 107 miles per hour. Fifth was Gary Partington on yet another Suzuki with a 7.17 at 103 miles per hour. And sixth was Ian Armstrong on an FZ 750 Yamaha with a 7.2 second run at 103 miles per hour.
EBC's 323 compound disc pads are the professional's choice, a fact endorsed by Bill Hunter and Steve Burns in the Ultimate Street Bike. When it comes to stopping, choose EBC. EBC pads are available from any good dealer, or contact Freeman Automotive UK Limited on 0604 583344.
The third round of Ultimate Street Bike is here at Long Marston in the heart of historic Old England, just a stone's throw from Stratford-upon-Avon. We've got nearly 450 entrants for this event, and we've even, in the middle of a cold, wet and miserable June, got a dry strip to run on. The favourites, again, have got to be Steve Burns and Bill Hunter on their Turbo Suzukis. But the strip, although it's dry, it's not in brilliant condition. Traction's going to be at a premium, and I think there may be a surprise result. Anyway, we'll see.
For the first time this year, we had weekend action spread over 2 days, with the usual good weather following the Ultimate Street Bike Roadshow. Saturday saw a new name, Martin Peck, on his nitrous-injected Suzuki GSX 1100, storming to a lead, with a 9.94 second run at 147 miles per hour, a position he was to hold all day. Pressing hard was Bill Hunter on his Spondon Turbo with a succession of low 10-second passes, best being a 10.10 at 148 miles per hour. Absent from York and the Isle of Man, Ken Taylor was back with a vengeance on his handcrafted GSX 1100 Suzuki here at Long Marston. Ever-consistent Dave Ennis on his immaculate Z1B Kawasaki, also sporting nitrous oxide injection, was launching hard and looking like securing himself another top 10 position with a 10.22 at 139 miles per hour. Neil Champion's Harris Turbo was looking as happy on the strip as it would lapping Cadwell Park on a Sunday afternoon. Top runner Steve Burns, winner at both rounds so far, was being hampered by a buckled front wheel, which he sustained in his Isle of Man collision. Col Rule burning out. And while the smoke clears, let's listen to what Col had to say about the Ultimate Street Bike Series.
I do it because it's fun. I get to meet people from all over the country at the old streets that I wouldn't normally see. It's a chance to try out my own bike that I do all my own building on, add on to, with the exception of headwork. On Toaster Tuning Shop's own dyno, it showed 173 horsepower at the rear wheel, which is why it's run so far a best time of 9.78 at 140 dead at Santa Pod. Not doing so well this weekend because the track just isn't sticky enough today. It should run high to mid-nines on that sort of power comfortably.
One Suzuki 750 kettle was really on the boil, that of Bill Colcutt, who was leading the way with an 11.21 at 122 miles per hour, a personal best for him. Kawasaki-mounted Chris Spry was also to run in the 11s in the two-stroke open class, although not on this particular run. John Kuhn, on another 750 Suzuki triple, was posting low 11-second warnings to Bill Colcutt. New faces in the four-stroke twin class, where a real battle royal was going on between the Moto Guzzes of John Benham and Mike Watkins, John emerging the quicker on the day. Talking of battle royals, something that nobody thought they would see until the finals was Bill Hunter and Steve Burns lining up together, The result was spectacular, drag racing at its best. Sunday saw the arrival of John Boy Messenger, who went straight to the top of the table with an electrifying 9.8 at 144 miles per hour. We best remember John on a Kawasaki last year. This year, the only thing to remain unchanged are the leathers.
I can't change the leathers, they was a Christmas present. I can change the bike though. Changed it for a Suzuki mainly because of the engine, very strong engines. With the help of Graham from NCK, he's built me a good strong engine to run against the turbos and the nitrous bikes, which have been ruling the roost these last few years, a few years too long. I think it's about time an aspirated bike gave them a run for their money, which it seems to be doing.
Looking like a Formula 1 bike with sit and beg bars, Tony Arnold was powering his way to 8th position on his Suzuki with a 10.3 at 137 miles per hour. Everyone was trying hard, in some cases a little too hard to break those personal best times. 6th place finisher at York, Richard Prosser, on his 1260 Kawasaki, improved his York times by nearly half a second and added over 10 miles an hour to his terminal speed. Numerous GPZ 900 Kawasaki's took to the strip over the weekend. The only one to break records was Mark Chapman's, who logged some 21 runs. Ian Toms on his GSX 1100 Turbo Katana was clawing to get into the top 10 with a 10.46 at 132 miles per hour. From large to small, or should I say tiny. This 125 sounding like a bad-tempered hornet ran some very creditable quarter-mile times, considering the capacity disadvantaged over some of his opponents. The Ultimate Streetbike seems to attract pro stock riders. At Long Marston we saw Andy Capper on his Katana. A top box on an Ultimate Streetbike? Was he really a competitor, or was Long Marston a shortcut to his next dispatch parcel collection? A host of GSX 1100Rs, now commonplace at the Ultimate Streetbike. One of the fastest was Dean Williamson, with a 10.86 at 129 miles per hour. The FZR 1000 Yamahas had doubled in numbers since the York round, and there were now two. An 11.10 second run at 127 miles per hour saw Les Vallender emerge as the quicker of the pair. Kawasaki 750 turbos are renowned for a good turn of speed over the quarter mile, but add nitrous oxide injection and call yourself Owen Lewis and you'll be posting 10.83s at 127 miles per hour. We predicted that the two-stroke twin class would be taken very seriously. This Gamma Suzuki, with tuned 350 power valve Yamaha engine, I think proves dedication to dragging rather than scratching. Keith Pearson still wasn't having much luck, but was going down well with the crowd. Later, he got a full run-in without any hitches on his Triumph. Earlier we mentioned Wayne Schreier on his GPZ 1100, the same guy we were to see in the two-stroke open class running a GT 750 Suzuki into the 11s. Stuart Hellier, who we saw at York on his Yamaha, engine out to 1382cc, was recording runs in the 10s with terminal speeds of over 130 miles per hour. For those of you who were wondering what the ramp next to the strip was for, it was Joe Delaney's attempt to break the world T-bone dive record, and failing. Before leaving Long Marston, let's see how they finished up. First was John Boy Messenger on his GSX 1150 Suzuki with a 9.8 at 144 miles per hour. Second, just 6/100ths of a second behind, was Bill Hunter on his Spondon Turbo with a 9.86 at 147 miles per hour. Third was Saturday's leader Martin Peck, again Suzuki mounted, with a 9.94 at 147 miles per hour. Fourth was Dave Ennis on his Z1B Kawasaki with a 10.04 at 140 miles per hour. Fifth was Wayne Schreier on his GPZ 1100 with a 10.04 at 136 miles per hour. Finally, with a 10.15 second run at 143 miles per hour, was Col Rawl on another Suzuki.